Now, how many of you out there hunt ash swales? I personally hunt them quite a bit, especially when I'm in a big woods, oftentimes public land setting. Up in the northern part of Minnesota, ash swales they're a staple in a lot of whitetail hunters' list of spots they hunt. In the areas where I like to hunt, oftentimes again these public land settings, you get back into these really remote northern forest conditions, and an ash swale really provides an opportunity for hunters for a number of reasons. Think about those situations where you get into those vast clear cuts, those enormous stretches of cover of young popple regrowth, A3 or doghair popple as some people call it. An ash swale is an opportunity for a hunter to key in on those natural openings that are created in these just massive clear cut scenarios. Up here in northern Minnesota, you get into some of these real remote portions of the state, and that could be elsewhere, Michigan, Wisconsin, but there's really a lot of openings in some spots. You can go a long ways. Again, I use that clear cut example. You could go a really long ways before you really have any type of appreciable opening. If there's no ag around you in some of these big wood settings, an ash swale actually provides an opportunity to get an open grassy pocket in a lot of these vast stretches of unbroken cover. Another thing to think about is in a lot of these new clear cuts you see nowadays, they leave tops, they leave slash branches and waste wood all over the place. A lot of clear cuts they're so dirty, they leave them, there's so much slash on the ground you can hardly walk through them as a human. Well, think of a deer. If you're a whitetail in these areas and you're covering those long tours, from one doe group to another, you're going cross country. Think how difficult it is for a buck who's trying to cover ground to walk through these clear cuts, not to mention all the young popple whips coming up. So what I find is in these conditions, you get these open ash swales, and they're kind of that natural opening, right? They a lot of times have some yellow swamp grass mixed in. The trees create a bit of a canopy overhead, and you can really see in these ash swales. It's really pretty cool. And what I also find is that in these examples of these just vast clear cuts, these great big popple cuttings with A3 popple regen coming, these ash swales actually act as collectors for deer trails. And I don't know if you out there watching, if you guys have noticed the same thing, but when you go into these ash swales, oftentimes you will find that confluence of movement and collection of trails. It kind of creates that hourglass effect. You get out into the clear cuts, oftentimes you have great doe bedding, you have a ton of food, almost endless supply of food, incredible bud density in these young clear cuts, which are great. These are areas that we want to try to target and focus our deer hunting efforts on. The only problem with just a great big clear cut is there's no way to funnel down or restrict or constrict that whitetail movement in a great big clear cut. So the cool thing about an ash swale is, I think of a ideal scenario where you have two clear cuts, say. Maybe there's a beaver pond over here, a low area, oxbow of a river, and in between these two clear cuts you have this ash swale. These types of scenarios set up all the time on public land, big woods conditions, and these are spots that I hunt. And another really cool benefit of hunting these ash swale conditions, like in that scenario I just described, again, think about it. You have clear cut over here, separated by that ash swale. In these clear cuts, you're going to have food sources and doe bedding locations. So you're going to have throughout the rut bucks mingling and cycling around these clear cuts on both sides. And as those bucks are locating does in the pre-rut and leading up to kind of that late October, early November, and as those bucks breed does and then leave them, they're going to be swapping back and forth from doe group to doe group, doe zone to doe zone. By putting yourself in that ash swale in the middle of those two clear cuts, you can really key in on that back and forth movement. It's a really good setup, and it's a setup that I use actually quite a bit on our public land spots. I love a gun season hunt in these ash swales just for that reason I described, that crisscrossing movement of buck travel. And like I say, the best possible scenario, you get even further constricted with a body of water on one side, say maybe it's a road over here on this side, and you have that back and forth movement of bucks between doe group and doe group. Back in 2018, I actually shot a beautiful chocolate horn northern Minnesota big woods buck using this exact tactic. We had 2 different clear cuts set up, different ages, and it was just that classic, ash swale in between the 2, and I just caught a roaming buck going back and forth. And there was a lot of trails trading back and forth, and that buck was on one of them, and it was just a really cool hunt. The other nice thing about these ash swales is that natural opening feature. For a lot of you who hunt big woods conditions, those public land conditions, you know what it's like trying to maintain shooting lanes in thick woods. It can be next to impossible in some of these young clear-cut regrowth areas, trying to keep that popple regen down. Like I say, it can be almost impossible, and I know some of you out there watching know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's another reason why these ash swales are such great spots. You have this natural yellow grass open pocket zone dotted with these ash trees, and then just thick walls of clear cut, let's say, on either side, or in some cases it might be a pine grove over here and clear cut over here. But either way, you have that natural opening. It's using the natural features around you. It does 2 things. It allows you to see the deer coming, which is really important, because as hunters we need a chance to get ready, see that deer coming, get ready, and then make a shot on it. You get into some of these clear cut and pine areas and you can't see deer coming. So it's really cool because it gives you that opportunity to see them coming, number 1, and number 2, it gives you that opportunity to shoot the deer, make a clean, ethical kill on the deer, and stop it in an opening. Again, a natural opening, one you didn't have to use a folding saw or a pruning pole or a chainsaw to maintain or keep open, which is a really big deal. And I hunt a number of public land spots here in Minnesota, and to try to maintain shooting lanes on them all, it's a guy only has so much time, and you get so many stands, you run out of time just to maintain these. So that's another really appealing feature of an ash swale stand location, and that's why I hunt them, and I've had success hunting them. The other thing that ash swales do is, in a lot of instances, they're a semi-upland, semi-low condition, and so you have, again, just that natural pocket, that natural opening. My favorite setups are, when you get those conifer edges on them, or those alder edges on those yellow grass pockets. Bucks love to rub on those alder trees, and those conifer branches make for excellent mock scrape opportunities. I made a video on my number 1 big woods buck hunting strategy, and take a look at my channel if you want to watch that one. But in that, I talk about how you need to identify that long range travel need for those bucks. So the same applies here in this ash swale scenario. I'm not just hunting any ash swale I can find on the map. It needs to be one that has a reason for a buck to go through it. I use that example of 2 clear cuts on either side. Doe zone, bucks are traveling in between. It's just connecting those 2 dots, those 2 groups of doe zones, those 2 doe zones. And those bucks like to sign those areas in the ash swale. They rub on those alders, like I said, and then those mock scrapes that I'm putting out there. Oftentimes I find a lot of natural perennial scrapes in these conditions, in that kind of that open grassy pocket with that nice conifer branch coming down, a spruce or balsam branch. You find a lot of natural scraping in these spots. Again, it's some of the only naturally open pockets of land in some of these public land and big woods settings. So find that long range travel need, connect those dots, doe zone to doe zone, and get yourself in an ash swale and take advantage of that natural opening, take advantage of being able to see the deer come and make a nice shot on it and take advantage of those natural funnels of movement through those big stretches of cover, whatever it may be. Those ash swales really tend to funnel the deer through them. And as you guys put together your fall plans here for 2022, I hope you guys think about ash swales. If you have them in your area, take a look, go get out there this spring, go scout them, look for those rubs, look for those trails, look for that confluence of movement, that hourglass of movement where those trails come from cover type to cover type, and they neck down in those ash swales. Oftentimes, you know, it is moist soil conditions, and you'll, if it's a real active ash swale, you'll actually see those deer trails you can see the hoof tracks pressed into the mud, and you can see kind of fresh leaves kicked up and mud squished up on the leaves, and they're a really cool a tool to have in your tool bag. And I run a lot of trail cameras in these ash swales, and the pictures don't lie. Bucks use them. Anyways, I hope you guys got some value out of today's video. Hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to catch all my weekly whitetail rut strategy videos. Till next time, take care.